Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the VoskCoin YouTube channel. I'm Vosk, and today we're going to be talking about how I earned $9,000 in cryptocurrency over basically the last 11 months. And this is like specific to one project, and it's not referencing earning money or crypto and anything else that we've recently talked about. For example, we had this video talking about how we're earning $2,000 a month. That is completely separate and a fun video. I invite you to check that one out if that would interest you. But today is going to be a full background story explanation. We're going to evaluate the expenses involved in running this server and this node that paid us in these Komodo cryptocurrency coins, which totaled up to about $9,000. Kind of what was involved with that, how we got involved, how you can potentially get involved if you want to, as well as all of the negatives that are associated with this, and how just a lot of things can become more expensive and more time consuming than you may think. I wouldn't really classify this one as passive income, but it's in a similar vein of trying to earn cryptocurrency through running crypto networks and participating in these blockchains. So without going on and on, let's go ahead and jump into the video. But first, of course, we got to roll 10 seconds of tails. Our Doge, she's on the Dogecoin blockchain. One more quick note, guys, is I really have to thank you guys. We've already hit on 106,000 subscribers. That's insane. We just hit 100K last week. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, subscribing, and if you haven't subscribed, well, please subscribe. Again, today is all about Komodo KMD, the Komodo blockchain platform network, cryptocurrency coin, whatever. This thing has been in the top 100 crypto coins for years now. Right now, it's ranked at 77, and it's currently trading at 56 cents. Today's video again is all about how we earned $9,000 or 16,000 Komodo, which is how we get this USD valuation, by running a notary node. This full write-up is on VoskCoin Talk, the official VoskCoin cryptocurrency forum. We invite you guys to come check it out, read it, enjoy it. But we're going to go through basically this write-up in this video. But if you have any questions, you want to refer back to it, or if you want to reply either in the video comments or on the forum, well, you're certainly welcome and invited to. A Komodo notary node is kind of like a Bitcoin node with a lot more features and things to do involved with it. A brief background on the Komodo notary node here is that there's 64 nodes in total. 30 of those nodes come up for election every year. The lower performing nodes have to compete with new users who are interested in becoming new notary node operators. And to be blunt here, we've dealt with a lot of issues here in their community where they kind of move the goalposts around to suit their desires in this regard. So don't think that this process is 100% fair, honest, transparent, or honestly even easy to make sense of. This process is without a doubt interesting. I'll touch more on this here in a little bit. But since then, after receiving a lot of negative feedback year over year, they've created the Notary Node Bible, which basically is creating a more official rule book and outlines in regards to running for a notary node. If you're interested in running for a notary node to earn, over about 16,000 Komodo or possibly more every year, which depending on that price point could be $9,000 or it could be $100,000. Okay, so this could be an incredibly profitable venture potentially. I invite you to check that out, check out this article and all that stuff. But after watching this video, you may not be interested in running a notary node. But first things first, before I talk about my experience in multiple years competing and running a notary node, I want you to fully understand what that node is and what it does and why it's actually pretty cool. So the notary node is basically what creates and runs their delayed proof of work process. The notary node network saves a block hash from every DPoW protected chain onto the Komodo blockchain. So there are blockchains built on top of Komodo's chain. Okay, it's a platform in that regard. And remember, DPoW is delayed proof of work, which is basically like an alternative form of mining. Block hashes are taken from the blocks roughly 10 minutes old. They save this block hash onto the Bitcoin blockchain. Okay, so they intertwine their blockchain with the Bitcoin blockchain. DPoW secure chains cannot be reorganized beyond the most recently notarized block. The main function of this is 51% attack protection, basically malicious mining and reorganization of blockchains. Basically, this means an attacker sells coins that don't really get sold, and then they basically run away with this Bitcoin, and the other person who or exchange, which carried the weight of buying these coins, and they don't have the Bitcoin or whatever was traded out for it, causing millions and millions of dollars of losses year over year. 51% attack protection is actually a pretty big deal. So finally, let's get to the story here though. Long story short, again, we ran for a Komodo Notary node in 2018. We barely lost. We ran for 4 spots that year. Basically, there's 4 regions. There's North America, Europe, Asia, Russia, and Southern Hemisphere. Whatever region you run for, if you get elected in that region, you have to run your node in that region. They're looking to decentralize their nodes in that manner. So if we had ran for only a European node and not, and no of the other regions, which, did split our votes some, we would have possibly won. However, the plan was really to see where a lot of votes fell, and then hopefully we would get enough in a region that would have got us in. But anyway, it didn't work like that. So we ended up running in 2019, and this time we only ran in the European region. We received over 1 million votes, which at the time of the election was $1.5 million in USD of Komodo votes. Okay, so I didn't get $1.5 million, but you needed $1.5 million of Komodo to cast as many votes as we received that day. There were a lot of votes cast, and you can see that we were no anomaly. Okay, there were numerous users, over a dozen users that received well over $1 million of Komodo coin valued votes. They have a specific vote token that's issued to people who hold the coin every year. Unfortunately, the vast majority of our votes came from unfortunately, basically Komodo whales really vote this stuff. If one coin is one vote, if you got a ton of coins, you're someone who's been involved with their blockchain for a long time, or you just have millions to throw at something like this, then you're going to get all the power here. So it's not distributed in that manner. While we've built up our experience in mining and cryptocurrency in general, we don't have a lot of development experience. So there was a lot of drama revolving around us running for a node and stuff like that. So at one point, the region we were running in had received more votes than all 3 of the other regions combined. Take from that what you will. I ran in conjunction with Greerso, one of our community members, and basically he did the heavy lifting when it came to the actual notary node operation. Spoiler, but you probably already knew, we did win a spot in the European region during the 2019 notary nodes election. And so here's where it starts to get critical. We start to talk about what it takes to run this node and what you get earned. So I want to just focus on a couple things really quickly. Is just that if you want to run a node, you can't just say, okay, I'm going to buy a bunch of these coins and now I'm going to be a master node operator. This is not a master node. This is not something you can simply buy into unless you just buy a ridiculous amount of Komodo coins so you can quite literally vote yourself in. And the fact of the matter here is that this is very time consuming, not only once you start running a node, which we're about to talk about, but also this is a whole election process. You could compete with 50, 100, 1,000 potential applicants. I mean, in retrospect, you're probably going to be competing with around 30 to 100 candidates, or I should say more like teams. Oftentimes you see more than one person involved in the actual notary node spots. So how much time a month does it take to run one of these nodes? Well, to be blunt, these things are very involved, very unique and proprietary, always being upgraded, breaking, and changing, and requiring, kind of on-the-spot updates. This isn't something oh, I'll take care of it this weekend. It's oh, I need to drop everything I'm doing in order to take care of this. Otherwise, the node is not notarizing, which means it's not running, and you won't be getting paid. You won't be compensated. So Greerso said that this has taken him between 30 and 60 hours a month. If you don't think that's a demanding part-time job in itself, then I don't know what to tell you. The server specifications and cost for running a European Komodo Notary node were pretty expensive. So we ran a 16 CPU core server with a 1.25 terabyte SSD and 64 gigabytes of RAM. The minimum specs are lower than this, but your node will not do well and it will not perform well, and you would definitely have no chance of getting automatically reelected if you don't run a well spec'd out server. They also added some more, to keep it short, they added some more requirements for running a notary node where you actually had to add a second server. Okay, so that bumped the price from running this VPS in Europe from $320 a month to now plus $40, which obviously is $360 plus dollars a month once you factor in tax and any associated fees. To date, these servers have cost us $4,133, and we spent at least $250 running in the election. Okay, so like you need to run a node on the test net to have a good chance of being elected here. That has a cost associated as well. And while to some people that may not be a lot of money, to some people that may be a lot of money. And nothing sucks more than like say the year prior where we ran and accrued some serious server bills and we didn't even win to get eventually compensated for it. So depending on where you run a server, if you basically rent a VPS and you don't either have already or buy and run the hardware in-house yourself, it's likely going to cost you between $4,000 and $5,000 through the course of the year. You are allowed to run, again, your own hardware for your notary node, even out of your own home, but you have to run a node in the region that you are elected. So if you're in America and you run for a European node like we did and get that, well, you can't have a server in your house because, well, you're not in Europe. So these monthly bills, come out to over $360 a month, like we said. But how much did we make? Well, it's kind of in the title. But so this list right here reveals everyone's basic mining revenue. And you'll see that the coins that our notary node earned are well in line with the expected returns. So again, our node to date has earned basically 16,000 Komodo coins, and that's in about 11 months. We have 1 month remaining of factors that need to be evaluated. Komodo's trading at about 55, 56 cents right now, and the average price over the last year since getting the node up and running has been about 50 to 60 cents for the Komodo coin. In the beginning, it was around $1.50, which also made running for a notary node much more appealing during that time. However, when the price was the best, we had earned the fewest coins. Remember, you earn these in real time over time. You don't just get elected and hey, congrats, you've got $9,000 worth of Komodo. You get basically like 50, 60 Komodo every single day. So here's where it's probably going to get less interesting for you potentially. So if your notary node is operated by more than one person and you distribute the earnings fairly, so let's say 2 people, and you split your earnings in half, after we pay our expenses over the period of 11 months, each person in this 2-person team is getting $204 a month. Okay, and that may be a lot of money to you, that may be nothing to you. But I do want to say, depending on how many hours of work you put in, $200 can quickly seem like not a lot of money, especially because when you run for these notary nodes, this is like the big takeaway here, guys. Also, when you run for these notary nodes, the Komodo community and the other Komodo notary node operators and the Komodo official team, look, they expect a lot from you, like a freaking lot. And they expected me personally to just be covering Komodo like all the time here on the channel. And one, I can only create so much sponsored content because I don't think that's fair to you guys. I don't want you guys to think that VoskCoin has just turned into like a giant ad. 1. And then 2, like the compensation needs to be there. I'm not working all month for $200. I could collect unemployment for less or more money than that. However, I don't want to come off that like, hey, like I won this and then I didn't do anything with it. Well, at the end of the day, my first priorities were obviously to cover expenses. I'm not going to pay for anything out of pocket in a position that you're getting paid. Like this is essentially a job. You're working a job with a notary node. It's not like just running a master node. You turn on a VPS for $5 a month and it earns you some passive income, or it's not like you turn on a mining rig and it's mining you coins and whatever. Like this is involved. This is, it's a whole different animal. Ultimately, I wanted to make sure that the expenses were taken care of and that Gruso was compensated because he was doing the heavy lifting from like actually running the node. I personally was not in there in the server making stuff happen, making the updates, making the changes. And thus, there's just not a lot of money left on the table, and that is at no fault of Gruso. He actually tried to not get paid, which I was not having that. Okay, like you doing the heavy lifting, you're gonna get paid, man. If anyone's not getting paid, it's gonna be me. However, I paid for all of the associated bills from the election to the actual, whole notary node operation process. And I really wanted to make sure that I wasn't burning a hole in my pocket with this, because if that was the case, then it would just be time to turn the node off. And I feel like that would be really neglecting your service to the cryptocurrency and blockchain, because again, that just wouldn't be fair to anyone that you say you're going to operate this node and you're going to do XYZ, and you can't even do the basic of just actually operating the notary node and notarizing the chain, and thus, ensuring that the delayed proof of work DPoW is actually taking place. With all this in mind, we decided to not run for re-election for the 4th annual Komodo node. However, Greerso did, and he was even elected as a notary node operator in the North America, so he has the opportunity to run his own in-house servers to run a notary node and hopefully cut these expenses down and make it more worthwhile for him and give him more funds to participate and help grow the Komodo blockchain. One of the biggest takeaways here for me is that there's again a lot expected of notary node operators, and if you've got the spare time, skills, and interest, I think this could be a great experience for you. If you're already busy and you think that running a notary node is simple, and you think it's even close to just running like a basic cryptocurrency blockchain node, like running a Bitcoin node, well, you're going to be in for a rude awakening as far as that is concerned. Unfortunately, there are some toxic developers in the Komodo community. Okay, but there's some super smart individuals in there as well. I'm not trying to just completely slam and bash Komodo. There's also a couple interesting projects that are associated with the Komodo ecosystem and blockchain, like Pirate Chain, which we've talked about here on the channel before, as well as VoskCoin, which we've also talked about here before on the channel. And the success of these projects is partially tied to Komodo for better and worse, which I think these developers have a even bigger responsibility to, one, just kind of act like adults and not be super toxic and negative and hateful, and just to work hard on developing their cryptocurrency blockchain project, which is the Komodo platform. In summary, guys, we earned a lot of coins, but we had to spend a lot of coins in order to just pay the expenses. And I know there's like some things that come to mind, like you could say, well, you shouldn't be doing this for selfish reasons like monetary gain and things like that, and that wasn't the main purpose and goal here. But I don't think that you should be paying all this stuff out of pocket. I think there should be an incentive. I think you should be rewarded, and if there's a coin distribution mechanism, it should be definitely partially allotted to the people running and ensuring the blockchain is operating effectively, and also those who are continuing to develop it. It's why we are not opposed to when blockchains have, say, like a built-in dev fund or like a dev tax, founder's reward, whatever, that kind of stuff, if they are actively using those funds to contribute to the blockchain development of their project. I can also hear this question of, well, why don't you just hold the coins and wait for a pump, or you hold them into the future and it could be worth a lot of money in retrospect? Like, sure, you could do that. But then, you're bearing all these expenses and the risk, and at the end of the day, you're basically just buying Komodo at a slight discount. Ultimately, guys, this was a very interesting experience, and I'm happy that we kind of went down this road and tried it and had the opportunity to be elected and be involved. But it's definitely not something I'm personally interested in moving forward. I think the demands are too high for what you get in exchange for that. Maybe if their price mooned, everyone would be singing a different tune there. If their price was worth more, instead of earning, say, $10,000 a year, this could be a notary node position earning a $100,000 a year or more. Again, that's at we had 2017, altcoins go to the moon prices. So at the end of the day, guys, if this stuff is interesting to you, I really invite you to check it out and get involved with it. If not, well, I hope you get involved with the VoskCoin YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, and I'll see y'all on the next one.